your ass.
You had a million times to do it.
Do it now. Why
you waiting till you get on TV to do it?
Why you on YouTube type?
Why you
coming to my house?
You're a TV man.
You a clown.
You got a problem with me.
You a talker.
Keep talking that boy. He's a
Regarding hip-hop and Love Atlanta's lights flickered in a shroud of anxiety throughout the city's most recent season. The vibrant city that had given birth to some of the most well-known hip-hop musicians was about to enter a new stage in the continuing drama on reality television. The show's two main characters, Lil Scrappy and Chaos, who are both known for their sardonic humor and fiery personalities, got into a heated argument that sent the streets into a frenzy. It began fairly amicably, with a few words exchanged in the heat of the moment, but it quickly turned into a furious dispute that threatened to devastate Atlanta's hip-hop culture. Lyricists were unquestionably formidable warriors. All their lives, the two men had been at war with one another, and their hatred had reached a boiling point. The level of tension increased at a tense period on the show as accusations were made, tempers flared, and films were taken whenever possible. However, Khaotic was under pressure to prove himself, and his fight with Scrappy was obviously genuine and not a ruse. He didn't want anything to be left unattended. The combat was first made public a few days later. Chaos' anger was reflected in a heated diss track that was released during their argument and was directed exclusively at Lil Scrappy. Khaotic wasn't holding back in the opening lyrics of the song. Disrespect when he disparaged Scrappy's street cred, his ancestry, and his position in the rap industry. The song was unadulterated, unpolished, and angry. Every word of Khaotic's poetry, which was brief, relentless, and interspersed with biting criticism, was immediately analyzed by Jab's supporters and critics, exposing the deeper meanings concealed beneath his technique. "You aren't the king of anything," he replied in a tone full of contempt, slamming Scrappy's tough guy persona. The song started to gain popularity on social media within a few hours. Atlanta fans were caught between supporting Scrappy and being more appreciative of Chaos' boldness in the diss track. Everyone was interested in seeing how Lil Scrappy would react to Chaos. His diss track release was more than just an attempt to make amends. It was a statement of his position in the business. A declaration that, even if it meant facing an accomplished veteran like Lil Scrappy at the moment, he was not scared to express his views. Now that the music was playing, it was time to let things happen organically. His rage only grew after the altercation on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Real bars and real beefs have the power to fundamentally alter the course of the hip-hop business. Although it would be intriguing to watch if Scrappy would react with a song of his own or take the proper action, one thing was certain: this was not another reality show concept. Chaos' trash tune would influence Atlanta's rap culture for months to come.
You know what your problem is?
I ain't got no problem, man. Don't tell me. Don't tell me what my problem is.
In the most recent season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the lights of Atlanta were illuminated by a fog of anxiety. The thriving metropolis that had given birth to some of the most famous hip-hop artists of our time was set to witness a new chapter in the continuous saga of reality TV drama. The streets were on fire as Lil Scrappy and two of the show's stars, Chaos, got into a brutal fight. As is typical of Chaos, the altercation began innocently enough with a few words exchanged in the heat of the moment, but it quickly turned into a heated argument that threatened to destroy Atlanta's entire hip-hop scene. The animosity between the two men had gotten out of control during their previous fight. Tension increased as accusations were made, fights erupted, and every incident was caught on camera due to the show's dramatic plot. Similarly, Lil Scrappy, the self-styled Prince of the South, will not back down from a battle because of his aggressive manner and piercing melodies. Even though Khaotic made some unexpected remarks, his argument with Scrappy was obviously more than a spectacle. He was therefore unwilling to let things go unchecked. Khaotic retaliated with a particular diss song directed at Lil Scrappy a few days after the confrontation. The intensity in Khaotic's eyes as they battled mirrored the song's strength. With the title Disrespect, Khaotic's opening few bars were frank. He disparaged Scrappy's standing in the rap industry, as well as his reputation and ancestry. The lyrics were scathingly hot and fast-paced, with a wild, aggressive, and passionate delivery of each phrase. Journalists and admirers were eager to examine every word and uncover the deeper meanings in Jav's poetry. "You aren't the king of anything," Khaotic spat, he said, in direct contrast to Scrappy's reputation as a powerful man. His voice was contemptuous. "What are you going to do when it's real heat?" The song went viral on social media very fast. Atlanta streets were alive with debates on the diss track, with many fans torn between supporting Scrappy and applauding Khaotic's boldness. Every one of them was concerned about how they would. The release of the diss track by Lil Scrappy was more than simply an effort to make things right. It was a statement of his reputation in the industry and his willingness to speak up, even if it meant competing against a seasoned artist like Lil Scrappy. Once a song was out, it was time to let things happen organically. He was even angrier after the fight on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Rap in Atlanta would be impacted for months after Khaotic Scrappy's retaliation against Lil Scrappy, a mainstay of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Fans have been following Scrappy's turbulent on-screen journey for years, learning about his highs and lows in his personal and professional life, but nothing could have predicted the day he would be destroyed by his own actions. The conflict started as a heated argument about Khaotic, a cast member known for his brash manner and tendency to start arguments. Khaotic was never one to hold back when speaking his mind, but now he and Scrappy were fighting over a minor argument that soon spiraled out of control. The exchange of insults and disparaging remarks quickly turned the dispute into a full-fledged fight. It shocked the producers and crew, who had been on the scene, that this was a man and not just another heated argument. Scrappy had always been prone to losing his temper, and the tension was starting to get to him. Even though the two men got into a furious argument, Scrappy's threats in a fit of rage would ultimately lead to his death. Since his tone was foreboding and the words themselves were not particularly interpretative, his warning of disaster was more than simply words. Who had stepped over the queue behind the cameras? It didn't take long. Hip hop and love. While chaos and drama have long been used to market reality TV, the show has always had a zero-tolerance policy for violence and threats. Since Scrappy's outburst had gone too far, the authorities made a decision quickly. Scrappy, the most identifiable character on the show, lost his job. Although Swift did not dismiss it outright, he did make the choice after weighing the potential consequences. Scrappy's career, the program's reputation, and the safety of the cast and crew were all badly harmed. He was one of the original members of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, which had considerably benefited his career. The platform showcased his life, music, and complex connections with his family, but now it was all in danger because of a moment of weakness. In response to the news, fans had mixed opinions. Some were angry at Scrappy for getting angry and starting a brawl. The show's fast-paced action may have annoyed some viewers, but Scrapp's firing in the days that followed served as a reminder of the price he paid for his rage and his incapacity to manage it when he felt it. It also emphasized how reality stars had to strike a careful balance between entertainment value and personal repercussions. Scrappy kept silent, thinking about what he had done. In private, the truth of what had transpired started to sink in, but in public he had always appeared confident and gregarious. He had hurt himself and his career had suffered. Still, he was not much affected by the aftermath. However, his on-screen personas made it apparent that he and Scrappy were at odds. The show would continue without Scrappy, who was not the main character for the first time in a long time. The resentment that had protected him from the painful but essential lesson was now impeding his success. There was no doubt that this was real, because in the hip-hop industry, real bars and real beefs have the ability to alter the course of events forever. It would take time to see if he would make the right choice or lose his place on Love and hip-hop on his own track.
Whole time, he the one who called me out my name, disrespecting me, talking gangster. I never talked gangster. I never threatened him. I don't play no victim. I just don't do all that fake gangster talking and all that there. You came at me talking gangster. First of all, if I say anything slick or say anything crazy out my mouth, I got the right.
Nothing could have predicted that Scrappy's own behavior would one day bring shame to his family, his career, or both. All of it started with a particularly contentious argument with a former member named Khaotic, who was well known for his brazen manner and had never held back from voicing his opinions. His tendency to start arguments led to a little argument that swiftly became heated between him and Scrappy. As comments and insults were exchanged, the argument quickly turned into a full-fledged brawl. Scrappy, who had always been prone to losing his temper, was on the verge of losing it as the tension increased and the two guys spat insults. The workers and producers were shocked to see that the man had gone too far and that this was not just another heated argument when they saw the incident. But Scrappy's threats in a fit of rage would ultimately lead to his death. He was not merely the verbal threat of chaos. The sentences themselves lacked much interpretation, and his voice was menacing,